Many thanks for making a date. This is the marketplace. Now, the poor performance of the Ghana cedi against some major trading currencies has marginally pushed up March inflation rate to 9.3% from 9.2% in February. According to the Ghana Statistical Service, the over-reliance on imported food items against locally produced ones can partly be blamed for the increase. Acting Deputy Government Statistician David Combat announced this at a news conference a while ago.
In March 2019, the year-on-year inflation rate for imported items of 11.1% was 2.6 percentage points higher than that of locally produced items, with a rate of 8.5%. The main price drivers for the non-food inflation rate were recreation and culture, rate of 40.1%, transport, a rate of 13.7%, clothing and footwear, rate of 13.3%, furnishing, household equipment, and routine maintenance, a rate of 12.2%. And the drivers for the food group inflation rate were coffee, tea, and cocoa, with a rate of 13%, mineral water, soft drinks, fruit, and vegetable juices, a rate of 11.1%, fruits, the rate of 10.2%, and meat and meat products, with a rate of 9.1%. All regions, namely Upper West, Brong-Ahafo, Western, and Ashanti, recorded inflation rates that were above the national average of 9.3%. The Upper West region recorded the highest year-on-year inflation rate of 11.4%, followed by the Brong-Ahafo region, the rate of 10.2%, while the Upper East region recorded the lowest inflation rate of 7.9%.
Imported food items, transportation, recreation, household furniture and clothing recorded higher rates of 9.7% above the general levels. The Upper West region, the Brong-Ahafo region, Western and Ashanti regions also recorded inflation rates higher than the national average. Let's now turn attention to the spring meetings by the IMF in Washington, D.C., and the International Monetary Fund is projecting a strong pickup in economic growth rate for Ghana this year. This comes after the World Bank, in its April edition of Africa Pulse report, also projected a stronger growth rate of 7.6%, a rate higher than the 7.2% by government. The new growth rate was captured in the IMF's latest World Economic Outlook report released in Washington, D.C., where my colleague George Riafe has filed this report.
The IMF Global Economic Outlook report tracks the economic performances of 189 countries around the world. The IMF in this report noted that global growth will quite be slow, but despite this challenge, was optimistic about that of Ghana, as it projected an 8.8% growth rate for the country. Now, this is the second multinational institution that is quite optimistic about the growth of their country, coming after the World Bank that also projected a 7.6%. Now, if you look at these numbers, they are quite higher than what government itself has projected for this year in terms of how they expect the economy to perform. Now, looking at these numbers, one would say, what would this mean for the country if these institutions are projecting a higher growth than what government itself has projected? Well, this could convince investors outside the country that the economy might expand than what government is looking at. That could impact on investment, because when they bring in their capital, they could be getting some good returns on it. It could also have implications on government's revenue as well as capital expenditure for this year. What are the drivers of this growth? Obviously, it will be oil and commodities. But the fund was warning Ghana that despite this projection, they still have to put in place measures to diversify their economy so that they are not impacted badly with the global slowdown in economic growth. From the IMF building in Pennsylvania Avenue here in Washington, D.C., this is George Riafe reporting for Joy Business.
And of course, we'll bring some more updates from George Riafe in Washington on Business Live. Let's come down home and straight to Kumasi. 5 more towns in the Ashanti region will soon see the introduction of bus rapid transit service to ease transportation service on 2 routes from Kumasi to Edreso and Atonsu commenced last year. City authorities say high patronage of the service has prompted proposal for extension to other communities. The Kumasi Mayor, Osei Sibientwi, was speaking at a sessional address.
Bus rapid Transit Project, BRT for short. The Bus Rapid Transit service is being implemented by the Kumasi Metropolitan Assembly in Kumasi. The pilot phase has been very successful. The Ejoso and Atosu routes have been enjoyed a huge patronage by commuters. Arrangements are being made to commence services on the following routes: Santasi, Pechi, Abuakwa, that is from CBD to Abuakwa, Kronum Afrancho to, that is from CBD to Kronum Afrancho, from CBD to Mampontein, Barakesi to, that is from CBD also to Barakesi. The project will require human, logistical, and financial resources to enable us expand as desired. To improve operations, the Assembly, in collaboration with the Ministry of Transport and Scania Limited, has trained 20 more drivers, 4 of which are females. The Assembly, however, is considering a partnership with the private sector in the management and operations of this service.
It's live on the marketplace. Let's do one of our top stories today. And the Commissioner of Customs, Isaac Quensel, says the new directive by the Vice President for a 50% reduction in benchmark values for general goods imported does not affect vehicle spare parts imported into the country. However, he says vehicle spare parts dealers have special arrangements with the Ghana Revenue Authority that could result in more than 50% reduction. This came up during a visit to Abosokai Spare Parts Hub by the Commissioner General and his team. The Commissioner General, Emmanuel Kofinti, revealed that the Vice President has directed the Ghana Revenue Authority to peg $1 at 5 Ghana cedis 8 pesos for purposes of trading at the port for the next 3 months. My colleague Ebenezer Sabute is with the GRA team touring some major markets in Accra and joins us with more details. So we're having some technical hitches here, and when we sort it out, we would return to Ebenezer Sabute to bring us up to speed with exactly what the Vice President has been saying, or the Vice President has told the GRA, and for which the GRA has now pegged the dollar exchange rate to the cedi at 5 Ghana cedis 8 pesos for purposes of business transactions at the port. Moving on, according to the World Health Organization, 12% of the world's population spends more than 10% of their income on health expenses, a situation it deems unacceptable. Commemorating this year's World Health Day, which fell on April 7, we take a look at one of the nation's special social interventions for the health sector, the National Health Insurance Scheme, and its effectiveness in attaining healthcare delivery for lower income earners. Joy Business's Karen Dudu visited Old Fadama, a slum in Accra, and used it as a test case.
4-year-old porter and mother of 1, Hamzi Abubakar has been living in Accra at Old Fadama for about 6 months now. From Savalugu in the northern region, Hamzi came with her 1-year-old baby to earn a living. Her main aim is to gather money to continue her senior high school education after she dropped out when her mother died.
The money is to pay my school fees.
So if you get the money, you go back to school.
If you get to you go to school. If you go in the charge, it's no problem to go to school.
So if you go to school, you also take a child to school?
Because it's no talking. If you go, you send to do. But if you get that, you talk small English, it's no problem.
So unfortunately, she's been unsuccessful in saving some money to fulfill her dream of becoming a lawyer someday. She now spends all her income on accommodation, food, and healthcare.
If you come, they are tired, too much. The legs, the armpits, the body is not good. If you're going to sleep, you are going to sleep small. You can get up here. The baby is not sleep free, so it's not good. Maybe you come to market, you're going to the small. the money is not good because if you eat the market, you go, it's nothing. So you take yesterday you make money, you take it to eat. So it's not free, it's not good because my life is changing. Because if you come to the work environment, it's not good because they are going to school, primary, JSS, they're going to SS, and stop. Why? So it's no good.
On a good day, she earns as much as 20 cedis and nothing at all when business is slow. Unfortunately, similar young women like Hamzi are in the headporting business, all struggling to make a headway. I wondered why she does not depend on a national health insurance card in her precarious situation. For her, drugs over the counter are cheaper and she prefers to obtain them herself.
When they give, if the body is weak, they'll give me paracetamol shot and the Tida. If you bring the Tida, so you didn't bring it the paracetamol shot.
How much did you spend? How much did you buy the medicine?
The paracetamol shot and the Tida is the 7 cedi. The thing, buy the thing, if you 30 cedi, 37 cedi. No, my help sorry. So you expire. So you leave it. My sister, you change it. You bring it to me.
But you can change it in Accra. Don't you want to change it in Accra?
I don't know you change it.
I don't know how to change it.
They are sending to the hospital to change it. Before me, you come. If you change it, you bring it to me.
My interaction with many other porters revealed most of them either did not have a valid insurance card or were just not concerned about it or did not know much about the scheme. Like Hamzi, they mostly depend on pharmacies and unlicensed drug vendors who they term market doctors. I decided to visit the nearest health facility in the area to find out more about how residents finance their health. Star 8 Clinic is a 3-room facility comprising of a consultation room, pharmacy and laboratory. Physician assistant John Sibido says within a day they serve about 80 OPD cases and sometimes minor surgery cases.
So this place, we have a lot of challenges. The commonest conditions we normally treat here is malaria, typhoid fever, hepatitis B, sometimes HIV we refer. Then the most dangerous one is the assault cases. People coming in every day with wounds on their faces, their body. So those we can handle, we treat, we suture, sometimes we refer. And sometimes we manage them here, they are fine with discharge.
Assuming I'm here for malaria treatment, what is the average, let's say, cost? How much do you think I will spend?
It depends on the type of malaria. Okay, so what we do is that when you come, we do malaria tests. Sometimes we do RDT, or sometimes we do malaria parasite filming. That one we use the mic to see the type of malaria you have. And then the test is not even the problem. Your physical presentation sometimes will tell the prescriber or the doctor that is complicated malaria. If it's just common malaria, we treat. The cost may be 30 cedi to 40 cedi.
On why most residents in the slum community have neglected the NHIS, John explained that they felt services rendered under the insurance scheme were not quality.
Concerning the National Health Insurance, people don't like it because when they go to hospitals, the doctors end up prescribing the drug for them to go and buy, especially those that are expensive. For example, amoxicillin is a little bit expensive, so the doctors, they will write, go and buy. Then they will come home and come back. So some will say that if I will go to a hospital with insurance and then they will prescribe drugs for me to go and buy, then it's better I go to the pharmacies or the chemical shops and buy my drugs.
Okay.
And the most serious one is even the pregnant women. You know, in Ghana we are saying that free maternal treatment. If they go to hospital, almost all the antenatal drugs are being prescribed for them to go and buy.
Wow. Although the scheme was established in 2003 to provide equitable access and financial coverage for basic healthcare services, achieving its aim has been difficult as it has been shrouded by challenges including the lack of funds to support the program. The scheme is largely funded by the National Health Insurance Levy, which is currently 2.5% levy on goods and services collected under the value-added tax and 2.5% points of Social Security and National Insurance Trust SNIT contribution. This, the authority says, is woefully inadequate. The authority is currently in need of about 13 billion cedis to provide quality healthcare services. This has translated into poor quality service rendered as most healthcare providers under the scheme are not paid their due claims, with some threatening to withdraw the services. The latest is private health providers in the Upper East region. Dr. Francis Asana is the regional chairman of the Association of Private Healthcare Providers in the Upper East region.
Some private facilities in the region have been unable to pay salaries for the past 3 to 4 months and still counting. This is because private healthcare providers rely solely on reimbursement from the National Insurance Authority to pay salaries and to procure other logistics for their operations. The situation we expect should inform the authority and government to consider making regular monthly payments to facilities. They should make this one a topmost priority to enable us meet our day-to-day operational needs, especially payment of salaries. This will go a long way to ensure a smooth and constant provision of uncompromised quality healthcare services and prevent the frequent labor agitation and strike threats that are faced by managers of these private healthcare providers.
According to the World Health Organization, more than 800 million people, roughly 12% of the world's population, spend more than 10% of their income on health expenses, in most cases to care for sick children or family members. Most Ghanaians are compelled to fall within this bracket, as complaints about ineffectiveness of the scheme have deterred some people from enrolling. National Chairman of the Coalition of Non-Governmental Organizations in Health, Dr. Gabriel Benaku, explained that the national health insurance can only be effective if government operates the health insurance scheme as a business.
Monies that you and I insure ourselves, which they are supposed to keep and invest to get more returns so that they can increase quality of care, because of political interference, those monies are delayed in being released. And therefore, service providers who are giving services to government, and because of delays, they also pick money from the bank. They are going to charge more interest on the services they offer to Ghana. So the vicious cycle continues. That's why I'm saying that until we amend that part of the law to allow the national health insurance to be independent, regulated by a commission, that is the surest way we can have the fully fledged national health insurance scheme that will be operated like a business model. Until we have that attitude of operating the national health insurance like a business model, we are going to have this crisis every 4 years or every 8 years.
He added that once the authority is able to make returns, much more investments will be made into the types of drugs under the scheme.
Deliberately, we have compromised quality. The person is insured, he is sick, he needs that type. It is not at the facility. Somebody must move to the regional capital to be able to create an opportunity to get the drug for the person to be treated. That's a typical example. Within the same facility, within the region, a child was having an anemic condition. And I had the offer, because we have volunteers within the district. So we visited, we tried to, a mystery survey, we tried to find out as if we are part of the family. We tried to find out. At the time they finished the test, the medical assistant, there was no doctor there, even though it's a district hospital. It was supposed to be a doctor, no doctor. The MA supported the process and recommended that we buy such drugs. We went to the district pharmacy, no drug. But when we move less than 5 minutes. Closer by to the facility is a pharmacy shop, and we got the drug there. So the person is insured, but he cannot get those drugs there. We have to get it outside. So people claim that the National Health Insurance is working. Practically, it's not working.
Joseph Sibido of Star Aid Clinic shares the same opinion.
They are doing much, but the problem is the type of drugs that are covered by insurance. Okay, the insurance drugs, sometimes I can say that they are less potent drugs. They are potent, but the most expensive one is not covered by insurance. Or they go to the hospital, you see the insurance drugs list. The drugs are there. Some people are aware, or some can read very well. They even have the list. They go to the hospital, then prescribe, go and buy.
And that will be it for the marketplace this afternoon. But make a date later at 5 p.m. on Business Live when we bring you more updates from the IMF Spring Meeting in Washington, D.C. with our man George Biafi, as well as the updates from the GRA's new development regarding the CD against the dollar for purposes of transactions at the ports. My name is Emmanuel Abuaji Biafi. Many thanks for your company. Have a good afternoon.